Hi, I'm Anthony Godin. I'm a classic motorcycle dealer. I'm going to go through some of my favourite Ducatis of the last 20-30 years. In no particular order, these are what I would say are some of the best value and some of the most underrated bikes currently available. Starting off with Ducati Monsters, most of the Monster range is pretty good, but in particular the Monster 600 is a fantastic bike and really good value at the moment. Moving on from that, 748s. We know that 916 Ducatis of that era are now, very expensive, quite hard to get hold of, especially the hot models. But 748s are still a really, really good value bike. Loads of power, a little bit more revvy. There are SP and S versions as well. So if you want to spend a little bit more and go for something a bit more powerful, that's in the range. Moving back slightly to a slightly earlier age, the V-twin bikes that came before them, the 851 and the 888s, they're also very, very good bikes to have right now. They're really coming into their own. Great design, lovely features to them, fantastic to ride, and I think good value in the current market. If you want something a little bit older than that, 860 GT. Now, bevel drive Ducatis are getting very valuable and sort of becoming unaffordable for most people, and so the 860 is a good version to have. You can find sports versions of them that have been modified slightly. Admittedly, they're not desmodronically valved, so they're not as powerful, but they still got a great sound, great look, fantastic handling, and a much better value. Equally so, if you want a bevel drive Ducati and you want a Desmo to have that extra performance, the SD or the Dharma are pretty much half the price at the moment of a 900 SS Ducati. So same engine, same amazing performance and sound and everything that you get from a classic Ducati V-twin, but really good value for money. Moving slightly on, talking about 900 SS's, 900 SS models that came after the bevel, so the Dharma engine bikes and the ones that came after that, they are also really good value for money at the moment. They've still got that sort of slightly 80s styling, square headlamp, actually very similar to this 888, which is behind me. This particular bike is an SP5, so it's one of the hot ones. Admittedly, they are expensive, but there are lesser versions of it that are still plenty of power, fantastic handling, and kind of give you all the feel and grace that those early Ducatis have. So very good bikes to have. Again, as I said, lesser valued ones are really, really good. Equally so, the bikes that sort of came after that in 98 to 2002, the styling of them isn't quite as nice. They had a sort of half moon shaped headlamp to them. 916s, as I had previously mentioned, getting very expensive, and so what I think is a great alternative is the 996. Now, you have the same kind of styling, very, very similar bike, in some ways slightly better because engine cases are slightly different and the fuel injection system is a bit easier to handle. Slight reworking of them made them a little bit less grabby, so nice bikes to ride, and I still think good value in the current market. Maybe not so much the hotter versions, the S's and the R's, but just the standard 996 Biposto, of which they didn't make a ton of in that era. Great value for money. I mean, what a cracking bike, for what a great ride for what you get out of it. Moving on from that, you get the 999. Now, that is a bike that is much maligned by people because of its odd styling. I know that, generally speaking, it wasn't designed, or the design, I should say, was very different, with one headlamp above the other, wasn't for everyone's taste. It was a slightly odd-looking motorcycle, but the revisions to the motor made it actually a better bike. It was the beginning of the Testastrata engine, and so again, a bit easier to ride if you like V-twins, not quite so grabby, and because of its sort of slightly odd styling, I think it's kind of coming back into fashion a little bit now. It's probably was looked at the time as being a bit ugly, but I think now people are starting to think of it and think, that's not bad. And as a consequence, great value. I mean, certainly compared to the earlier models, very good value. Going back slightly, a couple of smaller engine bikes, the 750 SS that they produced in the late 80s, early 90s, quite a rare bike. Not that many of them in the UK, but if you can find one, they're still very good value for money. People tend to think that you can't find parts for them, which is not true. You can get the bits for them. They're easy to find, easy to maintain. And then lastly, going right the way back to sort of earlier Ducatis, I'm talking about Mike Hailwood replicas. Now, everyone knows that early Mike Hailwood replicas are making loads of money, but if you look at the bikes that came slightly afterwards, the sort of third and fourth series, especially the Melee version, which was 1000cc, a much better motorcycle and significantly less to buy in the current market than any of the earlier Mike Hailwood bikes. So those are my kind of favourite Ducatis going forward over the last few years. Hope you enjoy them.